listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian, and today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, and this is episode 752 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Troubleshooting. I'll be chatting about getting started troubleshooting the day after we lost pretty much all our power situations, and we weren't really sure what else we lost, but got the AC back on before bed, turned the fans on, and Sunday morning we started troubleshooting. Yesterday I talked about the day that it happened. And it wasn't just the lightning strike. It wasn't just losing the power. It was the whole tree incident. It was having to run back out and grab all our stuff that we dropped off because we were preloading the cabin, and we needed the stuff. We thought we could get by for a week without the list of things that we carefully went over the list. We carefully decided what we were able to take out to the cabin out at Delinquent Gully for the following weekend. And man, we got slapped hard. For sure. If you were here yesterday and you listened to the show or you listened to it afterwards, you saw we had a rough day. Let's find out who's hanging out in the coffee chat over there in the live stream. The live stream chat. K-Bonk in, good morning. How we doing, K-Bonk? He says this is the end of his Food Forest Farms Brian blend. Oh no. What do you got coming up next, K-Bonk? I'm a big fan of the Brian's blend. I like the Brian's blend for sure. What do you got next? Right now, I finished off my FTO Blonde. I got my FTO Blonde espresso that I had yesterday. I finished that off. I had a second French press yesterday because I stayed around, edited video, started to try to get caught up on computer things around here, and it was a long day. Got a lot done, but it was a long computer sitting day. Finished off that FTO Blonde espresso, and then I opened up a light Ethiopian today. So light Ethiopian in my cup, and it is tasty. It is definitely tasty. Good morning, Jim. How are we doing? Jim in the YouTube chat and also over there on Noster. Good morning, Noster. How's it going over there? And it looks like K-Bonk's got the FTO Blonde next. The FTO Blonde's good. Have you had that before, or is this going to be a first time on the FTO Blonde? Thanks for the zap, Jim. I appreciate it. As always, every morning, Jim dropping over and knocking down that zap to keep the stream rolling on Noster, because I pay a little bit over on Noster to stream. We'll see how that goes, but there just isn't the capability for hosting over there. So K-Bong says it's going to be the first try with the FTO Blonde espresso. You'll like it. You'll definitely like that blonde espresso for sure. Rewilder Life in. Good morning, Rewilder Life. Thanks for the Northern Lights picture in the Telegram group yesterday. You said I hate it. You know what I hate is not necessarily the pictures of the Northern Lights. It's when the news makes it a thing instead of people just actually observing it and happen to take a picture of, oh, look, I was out on my deck and holy shit, this was cool. Saw a couple of those yesterday, but it's when it's a thing and everybody went out together and they took the same picture and everybody has to post it. I literally saw two pictures of Brandon on the go. Thanks for the joke. You're not getting $10. I think you're reading that backwards. I get $10 to tell a joke. It's my show. I'm the host, but I love your jokes. I'll get to that in a second. I think I saw 2 Northern Lights. I think I saw 2 Northern Light pictures, but I also was very limited on Facebook, so that also helps. But friend of mine actually got up at like 1 a.m, happened to see him, and then went out and drove out into the country to take them with his really, really good camera. So I think that's okay. I think that's cool. Okay. Pickle Pete, good morning. How are you doing? Thanks for stopping. Says he's following the show live today, then out to the woods. And K-Bonk's digging the light roast. Over in the vertical feed, Brandon on the go stops in and drops another joke. Yesterday, he dropped one yesterday, and he's back again today. Brandon on the go. Thanks for stopping. Here's his joke. He says, I'm reading a horror story in Braille. Something bad's going to happen. I can just feel it. Canadian Farmstead over in the vertical feed. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the vertical feed. Whistle tips go woo, woo. Yep. And Rachel is trying to hawk her house in my chat. I don't know if anybody in my chat's going to be jumping on your house. I'm sorry, Rachel. I am a name over there. I'm a name. You dropped $20 in the super chat. I'll show you my weenus along with everybody else that's watching. I'll show you my weenus. Good morning, by the way. Thanks for stopping in. Anyway, let's get to it. Good morning, Hunter, over on Twitch. Thanks for popping in. Like I said, I got that light Ethiopian in the cup from Food Forest Farms. If you want to try some awesome coffee, K-Bonk's exploring the new blends he's getting every month as a member of the C4 Club. Hey, thanks, Fire GT. Thanks for subbing. Appreciate it. K-Bonk is exploring all the new roasts he's getting monthly from the C4 Club. He's really enjoying the Brian's blend. It seems as he's surprised a little bit that he's enjoying the lighter roasts. That'll happen. When you start rocking those. When you start drinking high-end coffee. When you start drinking air roasted coffee. When you start drinking air roasted coffee by a human being in small micro batches, that human being be somebody in our chat right here. Pickle Pete is the owner of Food Forest Farms and sends us out coffee every month. K-Bonk's finding that it's not necessarily what he thought. He was a Corsica fan. A Corsia, excuse me. But anyway, Brian knocks it out of the park. So if you're interested in getting a sip of what we're talking about, head over to foodforestfarms.com, foodforestfarms.com. I got a discount code. You can get 10% off over there using discount code LOTS10, LOTS10. LOTS10 will get you 10% off your first one-time order, or your first order. It won't be a one-time order. You can only use the coupon one time, but you can always use LOTS5 for 5% off going forward, and always free shipping from Food Forest Farms. All right, I am a name. Have a nice day to you too. Guess he didn't want to see my weenus. Guess he didn't want to see the weenus. Anyway, check out Food Forest Farms. I drink it every morning, and I don't know how I would start my day without it. So yesterday I talked about the lightning strike. I talked about our trip out prior to the lightning strike to drop off all our stuff. We came back, we were sitting around, and bam, everything is just dead. I ran out to the cabin to get all the stuff that we had dropped off. I had to move a tree I had to move a tree out of the road. I had to lumberjack the shit up with an axe and all sorts of fun stuff. Got it all back here and was able to get the AC back on in the AC as in AC electricity, the 120 back on in the camper. But where we left it, we went to bed. We had fans on. We had no lights in the camper. We had no water. We had no internet. We had no air conditioning. Let me count again. Yeah, because 5 things at once. When the lightning strike, we lost our power, our air conditioning, our water, our internet, and my laptop. That was it. So the AC came back on. The AC power came back on, which made our outlets work. And so we had 5 fans. I told Corey I wanted to sleep on it. I needed to get up in the morning after my my adventure out to get the generator and all that stuff. We didn't end up needing the generator quite yet, so I didn't have to unload that. But it was definitely a long day. The lightning strike happened right before 7 at night our time, so all of the running around happened after that. I got home late. For me, I usually go to bed, between 9 and 10 o'clock. So I told Corey I gotta wait it out. Good morning, Jamie. Off Grid Ping. I'll see you out in a little bit after the show. I'm stopping out today. I got to get some work done, and I think we might have some boxes there by chance. But anyway, Corey was cool with that. We don't need lights to sleep. The fans are what it was going to be. We weren't going to be able to get the air conditioning going, and it was cooling off, and the humidity was dropping a little bit. But it was supposed to be a scorcher for the next few days. Canadian Farmstead says, I didn't get to say it yesterday. But quote, I have no idea why that guy stood back and watched instead of asking to help the guy, big, scary, angry man wildly swinging a maul. He wasn't helping long before that. He wasn't helping when I was just getting the goddamn tow strap out of my truck or trying to pull the thing out of the way. By the time I was swinging the axe, I don't think he was coming anywhere near me for sure. For sure. So we went to bed. I was like, I can't do this right now. It's dark in here. I figured in the morning the sun would be up. It would be light in here. It'd be a hell of a lot easier to work. Get up and have a cup of coffee. The whole deal. What's up, Fire GT? Is it fine if you could watch my Cuphead versus Bendy video live? I don't know what that means. K-Bonk was wondering if anybody caught Elon and Donald J. Trump last night. I heard this. They roasted Twitter. Was a DDoS attack? They overwhelmed their servers and shut it down. Did they end up getting it up in time to actually do the interview? Canadian Farmstead, my thoughts exactly. Says I managed not to catch it, K-Bonk, but it wasn't easy. I got 1 million views. Yippee. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Of course, Pickle Pete watched it. I know for a fact that I'm done. Even giving a flying fuck about the elections already, because they're somehow trying to spin Tim Walz as a legitimate vice president candidate to Kamala or Kamala or whatever, however you say it. I lived through Tim Walz as the governor of Minnesota, through COVID, through the George Floyd bullshit, through all of it. Tim Walz is he's a horrible human being, in my opinion. That's all there is. And the fact that he could be put into that position after it's not like he was hiding the shit he was doing there. Yeah, it's beyond repair at this point. Beyond repair if that guy's there. It was horrendous. He made Gavin Newsom look like a conservative, I would say. Anyway, so we got up on Sunday morning. Now we're on to Sunday, July 28th. Waking up, a beautiful morning. Actually, it was really calves in the cuck. I don't know if Mrs. Walls is going to want Kamala in the White House with old Timmy. He might she might think that he could get her a little head, and she might give him a little head. So we woke up Sunday morning. It was time to troubleshoot. I'm happy. I was happy. I felt confident because, that's what I did for a living for quite a while. Directly previous to taking off in the camper, I did service tech work in the fuel industry, which, I worked on everything from computers to pumps in the ground and the wiring between. So, electrical troubleshooting was a big part of my job. If you're not familiar, K-Bong says he seems gay to me. I just read some stupid shit this morning when I was trying to catch up on headlines. It was something about Tim Walz and his wife, and some kid was like, "I told Gwen Walz I was gay before I told my parents." Like, what? This is the fucking dribble they got in the news cycle already. It's only fucking August, and they're just talking about Tim Walz' wife and some kid telling her he's gay. And now that K-Bonk says that Tim Walz seems gay, maybe that's why she's so comfortable with that. She just puts off an aura of, hey, I forgot to turn my light on today. Weird. Anyway, I got up, grabbed my trusty multimeter, my Klein multimeter that's got me through a lot of troubled situations, and I started out. I kind of thought about it overnight a little bit, and how I wanted to troubleshoot. First thing I wanted to do was look at the air conditioner. I wanted to look at the DC power, the lights, and our water pump were out. I don't think at that point I realized that it was just the DC that was out. I was just like, why won't my oh no, my ads are off. Oh, thanks Jim for reminding me. I'm so far out of the loop on getting the show set up and everything that I ended up forgetting to turn ads on again. Jim, thanks for the reminder. Maybe I should set an alarm in my phone to make sure I do that, even if it's in the morning before the show. I'm turning them on. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you guys telling me that you didn't have to watch ads. Literally, the money I make off the ads, it's huge, guys. It's absolutely huge. Gonna retire soon. Hunter over on Twitch dropping in a comment. I listened to some of the Trump Mustang. Trump was slurring a little bit. Was he drunk? Good for him. Jim, sorry for the interruption, because that never happens in this show. I don't think I knew that it was necessarily all of the DC that was off at this point. I had a sneaking suspicion, what do these things have in common that aren't working? The next morning when the temperature started coming up, we really knew that it was the DC because the composting fan or the composting toilet fan, the fan that draws the air through the composting toilet to kind of keep it drying up, to keep the stink going out. It wasn't running. It was starting to smell in the camper a little bit. Pretty quick, actually. That fan is imperative. If you're building a composting toilet and you want to do a smack up job and you want to keep it dry, you want to keep it non-stinky, put a little computer fan on a hose and plumb it through so that there is an air inlet on one side of the tank and the hose comes out the other, and will draw air through there and across it. It wicks out moisture, it takes the stink away, and all in all, it just makes it a more pleasurable system. But when your DC power is out and the fan is like direct lined into one of your DC power lines, it doesn't work. And so as these things keep piling on, I'm realizing, okay, these are all DC things that are still out, except my air conditioner. That'll be another story. And the internet and the laptop. It was a shit show, guys. It was a literal, if I had showed up, and I've showed up to gas stations. I showed up to gas stations where there's been lightning strikes. And it is probably one of a technician's worst nightmares. Lightning does really weird shit. The surges are so intense and so fast. They go different places. They go unusual paths. They burn out different components. When you're dealing with computers and gas pumps are huge computers at this point. It's you need to know your shit to troubleshoot a gas station after a lightning strike. So I'm poking around, and I have that in the back of my head that like this could be really anything. This could be. I can't make assumptions. When you make assumptions in troubleshooting without actually determining fact, without confirming that this isn't working or that isn't working, or if you go through your process with preconceived notions of an issue in your head, you're going to go the wrong way. You might get lucky. And have guessed the right thing and you end up with the right answer. But I can't tell you the number of times that I rolled up onto a site and from the description of the problem, I thought it was something before I even got out of my van. It turned out to delay and hinder my troubleshooting because it wasn't the problem. But in my head, subconsciously, I kept trying to want to prove that was what was wrong. If that makes sense. So I'm doing not logical steps in troubleshooting. I'm doing steps to try to prove what I think is wrong, right. I was trying to not do that here. We had a lot going on. I needed to really start from scratch and move through the process and move through the whole system. And I was dealing with multiple systems. So I started working on the DC. I was like, okay, Jim asked if a multimeter comes in handy. Yeah. If you guys don't know how to use a multimeter, make your life better. Yes, first place I went was where the power stopped. I have a custom built power panel in here. We installed solar in the RV. We put an inverter in the RV. We have batteries. We have lithium batteries, but we also have the original power center of the RV. You know, you've seen them if you've been in RVs, the little brown power center with the flip down thing. It's got the AC fuses. It's got the DC or the AC circuit breakers and the DC fuses. And they're pretty standard for older RVs. I had AC power there. I had power from the pole coming in to there because my outlets worked. So I started where the path stopped. Start from the beginning. The power is coming in. My inverter, the way my system is wired is the AC comes in to my inverter. My DC from my batteries goes through a power panel, comes into the inverter. Everything flows through the batteries in the inverter and then out to the original power panel and feeds in as AC to the original power panel. Pickle Pete says, taught one of the boys to use the multimeter to install trailer lights this weekend. Nice. So much functionality. Multimeter is definitely the proper term. There's so much different shit you can do with it. So with the AC coming in, my inverter working the way it should, my solar panel flipping on now, I went to that power station. I reset all the circuit breakers. Everything seemed to be working there. Hunter says, when in doubt, ohm it out. Yeah, for sure. Ohm it out. Fucking test continuity. Mm-hmm. You got it, buddy. And so at this point, somewhere around this, oh God. Canadian Farmstead with a zinger right there. He says, I thought you guys would have used a multi-foot down there instead of a multimeter. Oh, fuck me. And so I got into or a multi-yard. We got it with the multimeter and the multi-foot. You didn't need to add in the multi-yard. So I got down into the control panel. At this point, I had kind of put together that it was all DC components that weren't working. With the lights, the water pump, the composting toilet fan, it was pretty solid indication that my DC was out. Like I said, the way my system works is I have DC coming from my solar panels, but that gets converted to AC, comes over to the original power panel, and then gets converted back to DC, just like it would have if you plugged your camper into the shore power. So I started testing the panel. All the AC breakers were good. I double checked that air conditioning breaker because it still wasn't working. That wasn't it. I kind of knew that the night before. I had reset everything, trying to get everything going. As far as the DC, my DC fuse panel in my power station there has lights for all the fuses. So if the fuse is out or the fuse is blown, a little light comes up because there isn't continuity there. But I don't trust those. If there's no power getting to the fuse panel, the DC fuse panel, when you pull the fuse out, the light isn't going to come on because there's nothing to turn the light on. So I used my multimeter, like Jim mentioned, and I tested all the fuses down the line. Check the continuity there. Beep, 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 beep. They're all good. All the fuses are good. All the lights are off, which is in the fuse panel. That's a good thing. But the lights in the camper are still off. I tested the AC power going from the AC power coming in to the converter, which is what changes my AC power to DC power in that panel. There's a little box there. It's got a heat sink. It's got some electrical components. Basically, it takes 120 volts AC going in, and it shits out 12 volt DC on the outside. And it goes to that panel, and I tested all the fuses. So fuses were all good. I wasn't getting power, so I wasn't getting DC. I had AC coming into my converter. I had nothing coming out. The fan wasn't running. There's a little fan on there. My troubleshooting expertise said that fucking converter's dead. It got fried. That was my conclusion there. Off to Amazon I go, but I have no internet, and I have very, very, very little limited cell service, especially, well, even if I go outside, especially if I'm inside the camper. Amazon, the Amazon app on my phone, if I was inside, could rarely get it to load up a product page. If I went outside, it was a good 3 to 4 minutes before a new product would load or a search. So this is becoming an issue because I need to order parts. I need to look up parts. I need to look up manuals. I need to look this stuff up to aid me in troubleshooting. I knew I needed a converter. I had no idea what the part number was. I had a part number on the converter, but that doesn't really get you anything when you're ordering from Amazon. So I dicked around. I went outside. I struggled through the Amazon app. I found the converter I needed. I put it in the cart. Going to be here Tuesday. This is Sunday. I'm like, all right, well, I have DC. I have the converter on the way. Let me see what else I can figure out. See if I need parts ordered. So I walk over to the air conditioner. Yesterday I told you it was flashing E1, which was a communication error. And I wanted to do some troubleshooting. I wanted to look at a manual. I wanted to kind of dig in, but I'm looking at this communication error. And for some reason, it just popped into my head. And I said, probably thermostat's bad. We're not getting communications to the thermostat. If I had taken a few minutes and stopped and actually looked at the air conditioner itself, I would have changed my mind. But I didn't. I was having trouble loading shit on the internet. I was having trouble finding parts on Amazon, getting them to load. And I said, I just want to get this done, so I'm going to order a thermostat. I went back outside. I looked through Amazon. I found a thermostat that worked, and I put that in the cart. It was going to be here Tuesday. I was like, okay, well, we'll have DC. We'll have the converter on Tuesday. We'll have the thermostat on Tuesday. I'll be able to fix everything on Tuesday. Let's move on to the next thing. I had so much shit wrong that I just skipped through that because it was like, it's the thermostat. Moved on to the internet. Still drinking my coffee. This was going fairly quickly. Nothing was getting fixed, but it was at least getting parts on order. Kind of like triage and really understanding what I needed to get going. So I moved on to the internet. When I pulled up my Starlink app, I was saying I was having trouble with Amazon loading. Starlink wouldn't load either. The app, you can run through Starlink, or you can run it through cellular service. Like if Starlink isn't up, you can do stuff. You can log into your account. You can do troubleshooting, blah blah blah, and all this. I barely had enough internet to get the app to load, to let me sign in, to start entering a troubleshooting ticket with customer support or tech support. And so I started messing around. I sent them a message from the limited experience I had with I hadn't had any troubleshooting with Starlink, but I had read some complaints that, like, you send them a troubleshooting ticket and it could be like a week to 2 weeks before they get back to you. And I said, that's not good, because kind of need internet for Corey to work, for me to work, everything going on. But I tried anyway. I sent him a message. I said, here's the deal. We had a lightning strike. My phone won't connect to the router. And the way Starlink is set up, there's a dish outside, It runs through a cable to the router. The router powers the dish. It also communicates with the dish. It also is your link between your phone and the dish. But the router's in the way. The router puts the Wi-Fi signal out. I couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi signal on the router, so I was assuming that the router was at least bad. I explained this to them. I tried to do as much troubleshooting as I could myself because of the limited internet. I found out how to factory reset it manually instead of going on and using the app because I couldn't connect to it. It said that you could power it down and power it back up 6 times, and that would factory reset it. I tried that several times. Nothing happened. I had a blue light on the bottom of my router where it's usually white, so that was weird. And so I sent them a troubleshooting ticket and said, "Hey, here's the deal. This is what's going on. I can't connect to I had a lightning strike. I can't connect to my router, blah, blah, blah. What do I do? Is there anything else I can do?" And then I continued to try to make it work. Tried to reset it. Nothing. A few hours later, I get an email, which my email would load maybe once or twice a day. I would get Telegram messages every couple hours, or if I got lucky, I might get them every few, like half hour or whatever. I'd get a bunch of messages at once. I didn't get Gmail unless I went in and manually updated it for like days at a time. So somehow I got an email that came back that said that there was an answer to my ticket. And I was like, oh, sweet. So I log on, and Starlink had replied and basically said, well, slow speeds can be caused by heavy traffic in the area, blah, 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 and all this. Basically saying, quit complaining about slow speeds. Your area is congested and it's a high traffic time. Not, oh, we're sorry you can't connect to your fucking router because it's toast. Let's figure out how to fix it. So I lost my shit a little bit. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so I wrote them back. They closed the ticket, by the way. They wrote this big long spiel. It was canned spiel about connection speeds, this, that, and the other thing, and then closed the ticket. And I was like, yeah, no. Opened the ticket, reopened the ticket, and said, you didn't even answer my question. This wasn't about slow speeds. This wasn't about blah, 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 and all this. But I was pissed. I was like, I'm going to have to fix this fucking shit by myself. I sent them an email, another support ticket about the fact that the router was dead, and crossed my fingers I'd hear back. I was searching on their page. I was like, well, I definitely need a new router. I can't connect to it. And I'm using an older version of Starlink. I'm using Starlink Gen 2. I think they're on Gen 4 now. But as I was searching through the shop in the app, Canadian Farmstead says it's always the cut and paste guy you get first, and K-Bonk and Jim saying they're bots. Yeah, one or the other. I was looking in the shop on the app, and they have routers because you can make a mesh network with Starlink. So you can add up to, I believe, 3 more routers to extend your network, and they all kind of they connect together and extend the range. And I was looking in the thing, and the routers are the same. They're not specific to the account. They're not. It's not. The dish is what has your account information. The routers are irrelevant. They'll work. If I had thought about it, I knew somebody here that had Starlink. I could have borrowed their router to see if my dish was bad, but I didn't think about that until after the fact. But anyway, the routers are discounted on the thing for $100. And I was like, well, I know the router's bad for sure. I don't know about anything else, but in order to find out if the dish or the cable or any of that is bad, I'm going to need a new router. I might as well fucking order it and get it on the way, because who knows how long it's going to take to get here, and who knows if I'll even be able to talk to customer service and whatever. So I put an order in for a router. It comes up and it says estimated delivery 2 to 4 weeks. And I was kind of upset. 2 to 4 weeks. At this point, I had to tell Corey, might be 2 to 4 weeks before we have internet. What? Canadian Farm says it sounds like you needed to sit down and make a troubleshooting chart before you started. I roll with this in my head, man. when I get on a system and just it makes sense. I'm pretty much recounting it from memory is the thing. And so I need to tell Corey, because Corey works full time using the internet. I work full time. She makes way more money than I do, and pays the majority of our bills, or all of our bills, or whatever. She couldn't take 2 weeks off. She had just taken a week off when her parents were here. Her boss was going to be out of town. Like, there was some stuff that she felt really she needed to work. So we went into kind of figure it out mode there. What could we do? How could she work? We had canceled our cell phone internet router. We used to use a SIM card with a data router and an antenna and all of that, but that was useless here because there isn't enough cell signal to get a fast enough speed for her to work. It's good to have friends. It's really good to have friends. We have friends here that we met. Flow charts, yeah. Flow charts. Sound like my instructor from gas school, dispenser school. Get out your flow charts and your PDFs, and we'll fix this. We'll fix this. A couple of folks that we met, our friends Norman and Herschel, have nothing. I have to thank them 100 times over. 100 times over. For the community that they provide around here for us. We get together quite often. We really enjoy watching the progress of their place over there. Helping them out, helping them with their roof project, seeing their updates, just hanging out with them. They're great folks. We made the call. We tried. We made a text message and said, hey, we had some issues. Do you mind if we swing over and talk to you for a little bit? And they were good with it. And we went over. We got out of the camper for a little while. We took the dogs, put them in the truck with the air conditioning, and went and talked to our friends and saw if there was any way that Corey could come over and work until we got internet back. And they were so gracious. They were so gracious and said, absolutely. What do you need? How do we make it work? What kind of space do you need? What kind of internet do you need? Do you need to be in a quiet room? And really, we didn't want to burden them. We made it as easy as possible. We tried, but we got set up for a place for Corey to work. If it hadn't have been from them, I don't know where we. Pickle P says we had some issues is better than a text that says we got blown up. Yeah, for sure. Jim says I met those guys at SRF. They worked the gate. I chatted with them for a bit. Really nice guys. Yeah, they're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic. I really am so happy I met them at Tim's workday, and that our relationship has grown over the last I guess it's going to be a year here pretty soon. So we secured Corey a place to work, back to the camper. So I got a thermostat ordered. I have a converter ordered. Both of them are going to be here on Tuesday. I have a Starlink router ordered and a pending reply to my service ticket. The router is estimated at 2 to 4 weeks. Laptop is fried. Now that I had AC power outlets, I dicked around. I did everything I knew in the laptop troubleshooting world to get that going. It was fried. I knew I needed something new. I was in the process of figuring out what I wanted to order when we had a new cabin, as far as monitors and blah 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 and all of this. I ran all of this stuff through a laptop for the last couple years, for sure. So it was going to be a transition when we got the cabin built. It forced my hand a little early, and it made me buy some stuff I really didn't want to. It'll work. It's going to work for now. It just wasn't the way I wanted to go with it. So I had to look into ordering monitors, and because my laptop had a screen and I had a little extra screen, but I was going to go with the cheapest route I could. So I was looking at monitors and a little mini PC and all of that. But I had no way to really dig in and research any of it because I had no internet. I wanted to get it on the way. So I spent the afternoon. We hooked up the mini air conditioner again, which when it's 99 degrees and humid here in Tennessee and sunny, that little air conditioner basically takes it down to the low 90s in here. We ran that. We kind of battened down the hatches. We hung stuff in the windows. We hung stuff and made our space that we were cooling way smaller, which helped. We were just trying to keep the dogs comfortable and us comfortable till we could figure this out. Till Tuesday, when the thermostat shows up. That was what we were looking for. So I'm pretty much caught up on all the troubleshooting. I think I have everything. I think I have everything figured out, I guess, is a way to put it. And just waiting on parts and waiting on answers. So the rest of the day, I think we this was probably later into the day by now. By the time we got back from Norman and Herschel's, we made some dinner. I got us DC power. That's what I did later. So I'm looking at the power station in the camper. So basically the fuse panel and the breaker panel. And I'm like, all right, I don't have DC power. And I'm thinking about how much draw I have and how many watts of DC I would use with my lights and my toilet fan and my water pump when it's on. I wasn't sure if my refrigerator had DC controls in it. We run our refrigerator off propane, but I think it might have DC controls in it. I really wasn't sure. So I was like, it would be really nice to have DC power so we have lights on in the evening. That the toilet fan would work so it stops smelling in here, and we could get water without having to go out to the tap and use jugs and all that bullshit. So I started thinking. I was like, where do I have DC power? How can I short wire, or how can I wire my solar or my battery? So my batteries are 24 volt, my camper's 12 volt. Turns out Norman has a step converter, so I could have used that, hooked it up to my batteries, and just stepped it down to 12 volts and put it into my power panel. I didn't know that when I came up with this solution, but I was like, what do I have that has DC power? Well, my truck. Thinking down the line, and I was like, I've gotten these little power, these solar generators. The bullshit name, the solar generators, the battery banks that come with the solar panels. Both of the ones that I've gotten to do reviews on had plenty of DC outlets. The problem was they were like cigarette lighter adapter. I don't even know what that port is called, like what the technical name of it is. Cigarette lighter adapter port. Both of them had one of those. They had USB stuff. They had several other. One of them had a different connection that I don't think I've ever used. But I was like, I got DC power there. And the one is a pretty significant size power bank that would, for what we were going to use it for, would probably last a long time. I was like, I really like that CLD cigarette lighter adapter. No. So I brought it in, and I'm like, how am I going to get the DC power from this thing to my converter? If you look at it, the power came from my AC circuit breaker over. You got your hot and your neutral from AC, came over. It went into the backside of the converter. The converter had a black and a red, a positive and a negative DC, like your car battery, came out and basically hooked to this board. And the board had fuses, and that's all it was. So like basically all I needed was a positive and a negative 12-volt system. Pickle P says, bet the kids never saw an actual cigarette car lighter. Yeah, a car cigarette lighter. Yeah, no shit. You ever burn yourself with one of those things? You ever play with them when you were a kid? Use them, start fires and shit? Other than lighting cigarettes? So I Off-Grid Ping says, do they have cigarette lighters or are they just power outlets now? They're just power outlets. But I don't know what the name of that power outlet is. 12-volt something. Crew Wilder Life says, all the kids put their fingers in one. They had the backseat. Yeah, you needed to touch the right spots, and then you got a little tingle. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get cigarette lighter adapter. Pickle Pete says, great for M80s while driving. Absolutely. Or on the boat. We had them on the boats for sure. And when we would use the waterproof M80s to blow up the water, the boat cigarette lighter worked great. I had to figure out how to get this there. Not convert it. It was DC. It was 12-volt DC. It was exactly what I needed. But I needed a cigarette lighter, the male end. Yes, we're going to talk about male and female ends. And the male is like a penis. It's the rod. It's the phallic thing. I needed that. I already had the female thing on the power bank. I had the hole that the male piece goes into. I needed the male 12-volt adapter. A couple days earlier, I had realized that I had fixed my cord on my inverter. The cord on my inverter in my truck, I got a little 300-watt inverter mounted under the dash of my truck, and it's got the male end on it. Well, when I bought this inverter, it's converted. You can run cables to your battery. You can use the cigarette lighter adapter. You can use whatever, but they screw off. And when I had to fix it because the ring end had broken off, and I stripped it back. I put a new ring end on it and hooked it up. And I said, all of a sudden it dawned on me that if I cut the ring ends off of that and strip back the wires, I have a positive and a negative and a cigarette lighter. It's just a cord. It's meant to hook to the inverter. But if I hook the cable ends to the positive and negative terminals on my DC panel, and I plug the thing in to my power bank, it will provide the 12-volt power that the DC converter was already doing. Off-Grid Ping says, can we see that visual again on how the male and the female end work? Okay, yeah. So the male end, well, for people on this audience, the male end is the stick. It's the rod. It's the lighter. The female is the hole that you stick the rod into. When you jam it in there. So I grabbed the cable. I grabbed the cable from the car. I cut the ring ends off it. I stripped back the wire. I wire it up to the post. I plug it into the power bank, and fucking nothing. And I'm like, fuck, something's wrong. And I looked over and I was like, oh, I didn't turn the power on to the power bank. So I turned the main power on the power bank. It comes on, the lights up, and I'm like, okay, why don't I have any DC power? Son of a bitch. There was an actual power button for the DC. So I had to turn that on. And all of a sudden the lights came on in the camper. Went over, turned the water on, the water pump comes on. I could watch the draw on the power bank. I used my small version. of the power bank to plug it in, just to make sure it didn't blow the fucking thing up, because that one is like $199 and the other one's like $1,200. I used the cheap one, plugged that in, and it worked. And then we let that one die down to about 10%, and then I plugged in the bigger one. The bigger one lasted all the way until Tuesday, until my converter came. Jim says checking the switch is the first thing on the troubleshooting flow chart. It was the switch. It was the switch on the power bank, not the switch that. The power bank was just off. But it worked. It gave me DC power on that side. So that was a win. For sure. I was very excited. The shitter fan came on, the composting toilet fan came on, and very quickly dissipated the stench that was starting to pop up in there, because it was getting warm, and the poo was starting to smell. So that was good. So we got temporary DC power. I got the converter on the way. The AC isn't working. The main AC air conditioner isn't working, but we have our small emergency one in. That's running. Internet's still down, but I've gotten enough troubleshooting down that I don't think I need to use the internet much. We don't have internet. We found a place for Corey to work. Rewilder, I'll grab your question in just a second. We found a place for Corey to work. Laptop was dead. I was going to try to do some research on finding what I was going to order. What I was going to order and get that on the way, but without internet, it was irrelevant. I wasn't going to try to fight through doing my show without a laptop, without internet, without anything. So I kind of reached out to my group. I reached out to the Telegram group. I reached out to some members in there, and I said, hey, can you keep my shit going until I get this figured out? We're kind of smoked. We're dead in the water. I'll interact as much as I can, but could you just, keep the shit rolling in the group? And I appreciate everybody that did and hopped in and kept the conversations going while I was kind of MIA for a little while. So that's kind of where we're at. Fixing shit. Rewilder Life says, stupid question. Why use power banks over batteries? Are you talking about the batteries in my camper? The batteries in my camper are 24 volt, and the power input I needed was 12 volts. I didn't have on hand a step-down converter to change it from 24 volt to 12 volt. Found out after the fact that Norman had one. I could have just grabbed one when I was at his place, just hook it in and set it, and it would have gone down to 12 volt. That's why I couldn't use my batteries. It was the wrong voltage. It was the wrong voltage. Realize, oh, extra battery. Yeah, I don't have any extra batteries, and I don't have a step down converter. You don't have a power bank at your camper. You should look into this one that I got with some solar panels. You're going to be out of your camper soon. Your house is being built. It's what we're using currently at Tim's cabin with no power. We're set up to use power bank, a power bank for our refrigerator, a power bank for lights and fans and generator if we need to top off the power bank or use air conditioner. Is basically what we're rolling with at Tim's since that's off grid. I like them. I really like them. I reached out to see if I could get a bigger one, actually, and they were out of them for their promotional for the month. So, oh, you use lead acid batteries, don't you? If you're saying that the batteries are really affordable, if you're saying the batteries are really affordable, that's what the hub uses. You're talking lead acid batteries for sure. Pickle P says, what's the brand? How many milliamps? Milliamps? We're talking amp hours, my man. Watt hours. The brand is All Power. The ones that I'm using is All Powers. You can look at some videos. I did some review videos of them on the YouTube channel, and they're also up on my storefront, my Amazon storefront. Milliamp. The one power bank is a 200 watt max with a 400 watt peak. Believe it's 1,500 watt hours. No. I'll have to look it up, guys. Jim says Will Pros just did a review of some inexpensive lithium batteries. Yeah. I'm still not really on board with buying cheap lithium iron phosphate unless it's a different module. Or a different. Do you know, Jim, if those lithium batteries were lithium iron phosphate or a different chemical makeup? Because some of them, lithium iron phosphate is very stable. Very, very stable. Some of the other chemistries that they're messing around with or experimenting with, or if they don't put the money into them. Sorry, guys, I got a bunch of chigger bites on my legs. Itching today. The lithium iron phosphate are LifePo. If you see them, LifePo batteries. They're pretty solid, and they are definitely coming down in price, even very significantly since I bought my batteries that are in the camper. So going forward, it'll be easier. Actually, the batteries were significantly they were the most expensive part of the component in the system. Pickle Pete, I'll send you links. Actually, hold on. Look at this. With all these screens, I can have this shit right here. Where are you? So 2,500 watt. $2,500 with a 4,000 watt peak. That is the link to the video I did about that. And then the smaller one is a 300 watt with a 600 watt peak output and that's a little smaller. I want to say it's like 1,500. Hold on 1 second, guys. End of the show here. Oh, coffee's gone. Coffee's gone. You're gonna need to make more. Oh wait, you guys don't want to know about an air mattress for staying in an SUV. Oh, this is very. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Oh, it's because Amazon screwed me. My thumbnail was all messed up. Sorry. Super entertaining, guys. I know. $1,500 watt-hour battery. Pickle Pete, if that answers your question. Everything seems to be measured in watt hours, and I was talking to Norman about that, and he says it's really nice to be able to jump back and forth between AC, DC, everything in calculating in watt hours. So started doing that. 1,500 watt hour battery is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. So anyway, parts are going to start coming in. I'm going to share a little bit about the week, with no consistent internet, so that means no YouTube, no Amazon Prime, no videos, no music streaming, no streaming whatsoever. Streaming was out of the question. Looking up static web pages was a challenge, things like that. So yeah, we'll talk about that going into tomorrow. And parts will start showing up. I'll let you know how the fix-its went, whether I came out on top. Ryler Life says if the hubs would get on the web and talk, he'd understand all this. Such a dinosaur. I mean, do you need to understand it? Or is what you're doing working for you? So that is one thing. So yeah, rolling through the rest of the week. Tomorrow we'll jump onto that. I definitely had some more adventures. This wasn't the end of it for sure. You're gonna want to hear how it all went down as we're getting parts in, and the hoops and things we went through. Status update at this point for that week. We have DC scabbed power. Our lights and our water pump and our composting and toilet fan and all our DC sides are working through a scab fix with a power bank. Our AC, our 120 volt AC coming in is working. All our fans and outlets and stuff are working. Our internet is completely dead. Our air conditioner is dead. It's not working. My laptop is fried, and Corey has a workstation. So that's where we're at. We got a bunch of parts ordered, and we'll continue tomorrow with the rest of the story. So, Jim says video he's talking about was about a month ago. 229 lithium LFP Cycon 12 volt 100 amp hour with 150 amp battery monitor system and low temp charging. Interesting. Yeah, he's going to drop that link in the Telegram group if you want to join the Telegram group and hang out. It's t.me/LotsChat. T.me/LotsChat. You can check it out there. Otherwise, you can find out all sorts of shit about me over at thelotsproject.com. That's the Lots, Lots project.com. Or make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I got videos coming out. I got a bunch of shifting and adjusting and things that are going on this week. Now that I have the computer, I have a little bit of time to work on the computer. Gradual changes. Don't want to change anything too suddenly. Be sure to check out Food Forest Farms and their coffee offerings, and especially the C4 Club. C4 Club is fantastic, and you're going to want to check it out. Join for a multitude of reasons. I'll start talking about that a little bit more here going forward. And that's about it. That's about what I got for the day, guys. So I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. I hope you swing in tomorrow and check out more of the story. Probably be tomorrow. We might be able to wrap it up tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Thursday for sure. And then we'll move on to some different stuff. Just an FYI, we need to square this away by Thursday, the end of Thursday's show, because this week's Friday show, Conspiracy Friday, TikTok Conspiracy Friday, I will tell you, yesterday I took a break, and it was one of the first times I had been on TikTok since this whole thing started 2 weeks ago. I got some doozies for you guys. I got some doozies. Friday, we're talking some wackadoodle stuff for sure. Definitely some wackadoodle. If this runs long for some reason, if this whole adventure about getting everything fixed and rolling bleeds into Friday, we'll skip it. We'll go right to Conspiracy Friday, because I was having a good time yesterday for sure. Anyway, I'm glad you're listening. I appreciate all of you. Like K-Bong says, hit that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. Share it with somebody you know. Grab that audio link and share that with somebody you know, or shoot them over to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me for the day. I hope you have an awesome Tuesday. Knock it out of the park. Get a bunch of shit done. Chat in the Telegram chat. We'll talk to you a little bit there. And have a great day, guys. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.